become a teacher myself. And I did have the pleasure of teaching my own kids all the way through middle school and occasionally in high school. I had my own two sons in class from time to time. I was basically a substitute teacher most of the time. Highly qualified, equivalent of a master's degree, but I didn't want a full-time job because I wanted to be able to, unless I found one in the same school district that my kids were in, and those jobs are a great school district, those jobs are few and far between. So I worked as a sub so I could work in my kids' schools as much as I could. And also I could take days off if I felt like it. I went into a new career at age 67. So, most people teachers were retired by that time. So I didn't want to work full time anyway. But I used to tell my students, listen, without you being here, I wouldn't be here. You're more important than I am. Without you, I could be replaced by another substitute teacher. I don't need to be here. You need to be here. The law requires you to be here. The state law says you have to be here to be in education. Your parents will be in trouble unless they were homeschooling you. Your parents would be in trouble if you weren't here. So you need to be here. And I'm here with you today. Now, while you are more important than I am, I'm in charge of your safety. And in today's schools, you know what I'm talking about, it's a tragic subject. But even in elementary schools, safety is a primary consideration. And we have safety drills, every day of how to hide in your own classroom, how tragic that is. But there's still, but back, getting off the point, I don't want to depress everybody out there, but by telling the kids, I'm responsible for your safety, therefore it's imperative, it's critical that you listen to me. And every class had their own, now my teacher always had classroom rules. I wrote one word on the board, and that word was respect. I said, I'm going to respect you, you're going to respect me, we'll respect each other, and we're going to have a good day together. Sometimes I had classes for 2 or 3 weeks when a teacher had an extended period they need to leave, maybe an illness or injury. I had classes as long as 3 weeks or a month. And I said, but our time together is going to be, we're going to have fun. You're going to learn, but we're going to respect one another. And that worked well. Back to where I was. The fans are former family members from long ago that come to the Fan Fest. If they didn't support it, we couldn't be there. So who's more important? Think about it. Who's more important? They are. And that's the way I feel. I'm grateful to them. I don't consider myself inferior, don't get me wrong, but we are equals. I value every friendly, I have people who don't, I do a lot, I post on Facebook, I have people who don't agree with me, but so what? That's okay. Our right to have an opinion is one of the great things about this country. I worked in places where, in this book I'm trying to finish about Iraq, you didn't have an opinion there. Saddam had the opinion, and every other opinion was what he thought. I think even the president of the country, for many years, followed Saddam's lead. I don't think he was afraid of him. I think he let Saddam take charge of all Iraqi security, build up a security apparatus that became so strong that eventually Saddam, he didn't kill the former president, but he replaced him, and then he became the Saddam that the world, grew anew. And I was with him. He was promoting the wrestling there. I was with him very early in his murderous career. He had only killed about 200 people by the time I got there. It had only been a couple of years, but he tried to add me to the list, by the way. So I have very strong memories about the guy, and I was not at all surprised to later see, his rapacious and murderous nature. Anyway, I don't know how we got from Larry Zbyszko to Saddam Hussein, but
That's awesome, Bob. Let me tell you something. Just listening, I could sit here and just listen to you for hours because it's so great. Some of the stories. You mentioned some names, and it's really cool because you mentioned Bruce Owens. Bruce still is an active referee here in South Florida, all over Florida, doing independent shows. Bruce is a really good referee. He actually has his own allegiance of fans. They actually cheer for the referee. That's how good Bruce is. And you mentioned Dr. Red Roberts, who you also were affiliated with Global Wrestling Alliance, GWA, with Rusty Brooks back in the day. I remember the tapings down here in South Florida at Pompano Beach. Norman Smiley was wrestling on those shows. Some interesting names, and obviously Barry Rose, who's running the Championship Wrestling from Florida Legends Fanfest on June 15th, Saturday in Lutz, Florida. So just so many names you mentioned. But I want to go to Bob Orton Jr., because that was your longtime partner, correct? What was Bob Orton Jr. like? What do you think of Bob and also his son Randy? Did you have a hand in helping Randy at all?
No. The only contact I had with Randy was that Bobby and I were together in Knoxville and I knew Bobby's wife Elaine very well too. And when Randy was born, my wife and I went to the hospital to congratulate Elaine, and I saw Randy when he was like, I don't know, 2 days old, and that's the only time I've ever seen it. So did I help him in his career? Well, he didn't need my help. His father was a genius in the ring. I know very little about their father-son interactions. I know that Randy went to amateur wrestling and did very well. I think Bobby had him in amateur wrestling at a young age. But I know that his ring work is excellent. Bobby was a genius in the ring. He was just a natural. He just knew what to do. I mean, from a very early age, he knew what to do, and he knew when to do it. And they had a tag team partner with him. We didn't really have a leader between us. We were both kind of tuned into each other. But I think I would say I reacted more to what he did than he did to mine. I'm just reflecting on that right this second, I swear. As I look back, I'm thinking that we had a game plan. First of all, Bobby and I when we rode to a show, it would just be an M in the car. We would discuss our match that night, who we're against, what we would discuss, and we wouldn't like say, well, let's do this, that's that. But I would always, by the time I'd already been a booker in California and worked in the Florida office under Louis Tillett and Harley Race and 2 or 3 other guys, and been around Eddie Graham working at an office. He had a great mind for finishes and things, but Bobby and I would figure out 2 or 3 ways to finish a match. How if we're going to go over, how should we do it to best protect the guys we're working with, or if we're going to get beat, what's the best way we can do it? And I remember Jody Hamilton was being the booker most of the time for one of our runs, Bobby and me being there. And after a couple of weeks, and Jody was a very, very knowledgeable wrestler. He's forgotten more than I ever learned in the business.
And that's the Masked Assassin, Bob, right?
I'm sorry?
And that's the Masked Assassin.
Yes. He and Tom Renesco were, oh my God, those guys got more heat. They got chased. They had people chase them for 50 miles after some of their shows. As I'm talking about 120 miles an hour, trying to catch up to them to shoot them or something. Those guys were unbelievable. But Joey was a very knowledgeable guy. And after, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, he would come to me. He would be lining up the matches and the finishes. And he would come to me and he would say, what do you got? I'd tell him, I'd ask him, well, what do you want?